Now, let us talk about variables. We talk about continuous and not continuous variables, discontinuous variables. And we say that variables like height, weight are continuous variables. Okay? And when we count, for example, number of children or number of courses, these are these are not discontinuous, okay? These are not continuous variables, and continuous variables are the variables which can be written in decimal numbers. For example, we can write a weight in decimal numbers, but we cannot write number of children 1.5 children. We talk about that. Now, today, we are going to talk about categorical, ordinal, interval, and ratio. I am going to open the SPSS program. Okay, this is a program that is widely used in statistics, and we are going to have an exercise from this program. You don't need to install this program. Just you have to know what it is about, but we are not going to have application from it. Yes, here, the variable view. Okay, we have two views here. First one is variable view. The second one is data view. Okay, this is variable and this is data view. In the variable view, we can write, for example, patient name or ID. ID is better than patient ID, or yes, it is. Whatever we write here, it is important that we don't have space. So the first rule, when defining variables in a statistical program, we don't use spaces. Okay, this is same with SPSS, it is same with LISREL, it is same with Stata, and lots of other EpiInfo, lots of other statistical programs. We don't use spaces between variable names. So now we are giving variable names. It's up to us. I can say patient ID. I can say, for example, no one, no. So just it's what is important is that I know what it is, and I can write the explanation here. Okay. So patient number, patient ID or patient number. It is just I am free to write whatever I want here in this label part. It can be nonsense. Okay, I can just leave it blank, or I can write something like it's not important. So label part is just for us, for understanding what is going there. Okay, this is patient ID, and here for when defining variables, we have to define its type, whether it's numeric, whether it's string, or whether it's maybe date. Okay, there are lots of other ones, but we are going to use in biostatistics this semester numeric, string, and date formats. Okay, so here, and we can group it, but IDs, we don't group IDs. We just don't have decimal numbers in IDs. Okay, it can be 8-digit number. This all depends on our research, how many patients we have, and our research group. You will understand it better when we continue solving and doing exercises here. So this measure is we can define it as a scale if we are only going to give it numbers, or we can define it as nominal. If we say patient ID, we can say it like D1. So if I say it like that, I shouldn't write it as numeric. You see, it doesn't have. So what I write here is important. If I say it's numeric, I have to enter here only numeric values. But if I write here nominal, I have to enter here string values. Okay, I have to enter string values here. Okay, so this is patient ID. I write, okay, this is patient ID, I write there string and I write nominal. Okay, so I can now write D1, okay, because this is string. You cannot hear the sound. This is D2, D3, and this is D4, D5, D6, D7, okay? So this is the number, or we can say patient number. This is the number that we give. It depends on us. Now, what other information that we may need from our patients? We need its sex, or we can write its gender, both are used here. So, type. Generally, we have to group it, okay? So, some variables are grouped. For example, sex, or department, which department, or school, university, or country. Let me write these variables that we are used to group. So, statistics consists of frequencies and percentages, okay, and lots of data. And it is important to give right names to our data and define them and then group them correctly. So we say we group sex. What we write? Male and female. Okay, male and female. We have two groups, or we may have other groups, but generally we work in two groups. If we are not psychologists, for example, or in other areas, you may want other sex here, groups here, but we are going to work in two groups. So what else we have? Department maybe, or country. We generally group this, okay? Grouping help our work. So what was our aim? Frequency. We have to count something. We want to make tables. And for making tables, we have to group them, okay? So country, we group countries, for example, but according to our people there. So maybe that our people in our study, or people who come to our clinic are from England, let us say, England, maybe Turkey, or maybe Egypt, okay? Okay, so they be from these countries. So if my patients are only from these three countries, then I should have only three groups. It's not says having, let us say, 10 or 20 groups defining if I don't have patients or participants from other countries. So I just include the groups that my research study is about. Okay, so I say sex, country. What other groups we can have? Education level, for example. Education level. We can have groups about that. We can say that primary school graduates, or secondary school graduate, primary school. And we can say secondary school, we can say high school, masters, for example, master student, well, master graduate, Master of Science graduate, whatever it is, Science graduate, as I say. So, if we don't have doctorate people at the doctorate level, then we don't need to have such group, okay? So, we have groups only that our patients or our people, the people who join to our research study are from. So, if I don't have people in my research study from primary school, I don't have to include a group like primary school because I don't have it. And the other option is that maybe that I don't know it exactly, but I know that they are mostly from this, and maybe from other countries also. I can always add another option here. So this is how we define, how we group our patients, or how we group our participants in our studies. Okay, so here let me give you an example of an table here, a statistical table. So here, let us say here sex, female, male, female, male, okay, 20, 12 and 14. So I have drawn, these are nonsense. We don't need this for now. Yes. Okay, just a moment. Okay, so this small information, this is, let us say this frequency, okay? This is frequency. And we can have what we need in a frequency table. We need also percentage, okay? So it's not important whether you have frequency here, okay, or whether you have it at the other side. I'm going to write it also frequency. Okay, here. So how you find the frequency here? You say that okay, 28, okay, so sorry, 26 here. Okay, so this is from 26. We can use this Excel here. This is other students. Okay, we can use Excel. So we have 26 students, okay? And what was it? We have 12 female. Okay, so from 26, if I have 12 male, so from 100 students, how many males I have? So to find that, what I have to do, I have to do cross multiplication and I have to find percentage. So it is 46, as you can see here. So here, female, I have 46 female, and if it is 46 female, of course, this is 54 for if we think that this is out of 100. Yes. Also, we can have other columns here. We have different ways of representing data in tables, okay? They are all acceptable. And sometimes in research papers, they give you some rules. Each journal, let us say, wants you to have tables in a different way. So you reorganize them. But the information there is same. So either I can have here, as I say, the headings here, or I will have it in a different way in short while. So I'm going to insert one more column to the right now. So I will say total, okay, and this is 26, and this is percentage, sorry, percentage. Yes, this is percentage, frequency and percentage. And either I can write it, but in the other course we see that we can also, it's possible to write it in this way. They are same, okay. For practical, for being practical, we can either write it like this percentage, or we can write it as n. This is also acceptable. They are all meaning the same thing, okay. They are, by the way, this is 100. Okay, they are all meaning the same thing. There are different ways of representing same information. So these are all acceptable. So what is this course is about? We are going to represent information in tables, interpret them, and draw conclusions from them. So here I can have this table in another way. So let me copy the table and draw it in another way and show you how it can be. For example, I can have this n here, okay? I can have this n here, and I can have this percentage here, okay? It's also possible. And I can write here, this is female, okay? And this is male. Wait, this is number, so if this is number, this will be 14. I'm going to arrange this according to the table here. I'm going to have them in same page so you can see it. So this will be 14 and this is yes 44 and this is 46. Okay, so I don't have total here. This is a different thing. I have to delete it and I have to have total. Insert rows below. I have to have total here, total, and this is 26 and this is 100. Okay. So what we did now, we have a data, okay, and its name is, okay, this is data name, okay, this here I can either say it sex, or I can either say it gender, or I can either say it SG. It's not important. It's a data name. Okay, I give it a name, and for practical, I say it sex here. This is the data name. Okay, the only rule is that I cannot have spaces. For example, I can write gender of the patients. Okay, for example, I can have write gender of the patients, but if I want to write it like that, it's not acceptable that I have data name with spaces. What I have to do, I have to write it like this without spaces, okay? This is too long. So I don't write generally long data names, but this is a data name, okay? This is, you can take it as a variable, but in SVSS, in biostatistics, we use data. These are meaningful information for us. So these are our data, and these are our data names. These are our variable names. On other, in other words, we can say it variable names like X and Y that you are studying in maths. Okay. So here, this is where I was here. Okay. So this is data or variable name. We can, this will be better here. This is variable name. Okay, this is a variable name, and this is the data. This variable contains this data here. So I should. Okay, so these are the information that we enter. So if I'm going to enter this information, okay, I enter here. So let us say if I'm going to enter that information, I'm going to enter here. So let us group it. Okay, let us group it and let us see how we can group from here. As I said, this is variable name. I can either write it sex or I can write it gender of the patients. Gender of the patients. It is too long. I don't prefer it to write it like that. But they are all true and they are all acceptable. Okay. What is important is giving right information. But the way that you give it is up to you. So I am using the short form of it. I write just sex there, and here I am going to group. Okay, here I have. You see that this is a variable name. Let me finish my job here. Okay. Yes. Now we see that we can represent it in two different forms. So here either I can write the group name, this variable, I divide it into two groups, okay? Female and male. I have two groups, female and male. And here, I write my group names here as column, and here I write it as rows. But they all contain the same information. They are all acceptable. This is two different ways of representations. Okay, so these groups. How can I group variables? From here, I write one, and my first group, it's not important whether I define first as male and second as female, okay? What is important is that I shouldn't forget which one I say one and which one I say two. Okay, let us say first female, but it doesn't mean that in the first order, okay? It's just here like a nickname, okay? this program, when saying 1 and 2, it's not the order here. It's just like a nickname. So I say 1 female, 2 I say male. But look what happened. It gave me zeros here. You can see there are zeros. That's something that I don't want. I don't want to have one group. I should say group 1, not 0. So I have decimals 0 and I have here 1. Now I define it numeric. This is an interesting trick here. I will explain why. Let me finish this label. This label, I can say gender of my patients. Gender. I can have spaces at label. I can write anything. I can leave it blank. Okay. Gender of my patients. And from here, what are these other things missing? If it is missing, and if I know why it is missing, for example, when we have some blood tests and when we don't have medicine to measure it, sometimes we give reasons for why that information, why that data is missing. But now, no, we are saying that in columns, this is automatically decided by the program itself. It's something that program gives automatically. Okay, so there is nothing to do about it. So it's number of columns. Okay, 8. Align is the place of our data in the columns. Whether it should be at the left or right or center, it's just visual thing. So it's up to you. I will have it in the center now, and the other one also in the center. And here the measure. Okay, so this is really important. That's why that I directly pass there. There's my, yes, this is my presentation. Now I see ordinal, nominal, interval, ratio. There are 4 levels of measurement, but we are going to see not all of them here because they are deep analysis. We are going to see only nominal, ordinal, and scale. Okay. So we are going to work with here, but there are other types, and biostatistics is such a science that there are lots of deep analysis and statistics. So it's an ongoing course. We are just seeing the introduction part during our semester, during our course here. Yes, we are going to define a scale, ordinal, nominal. So which one? Let me explain which one is for which. Scale is for numbers, okay? For example, number of teeth or maybe number of children, okay? Any number, or maybe measurement. Yes, measurement maybe. Weight, height, most common examples. Ordinal is what needs to be in order. Yes, is there any question? I hear a voice. I start recording and I was explaining this here. Yes. Now, so I am going to define this as nominal. Nominals are for strings. Okay. Now, the first one I define also nominal. Be careful here. So why? Because D1, okay, it has numbers, but we accept it.
We can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. I start recording again. So nominal, and we use nominal here, okay, because we accept these ones as string, okay. Okay, they have numbers, but these numbers, we are not going to use facility of numbers. So numbers are for what? Numbers are for adding, okay? So, for example, numbers, if we have 2 numbers, if I define this as number, then this means that I can add this. But if I have these ones, okay, this is a string in computer programming, in also in statistics, biostatistics, in the programs, okay, because we are going to use a computer program. And here, this kind of definitions, if we have any, it's not important that any letters, we define this type of data as string. Okay, this type of data is defined as string, And the category, all these string measurements are nominal measurements. Okay, these definitions are important. Why? Because we are going to use tests. If we define them wrong, then tests will not work. So it is important to define them correctly. So this is a number, okay? It can be a big number, a small number. It's not important. It can be decimal. Whatever it is, this is a number. So this is a number, and the numbers are scales. Numbers are defined as scale. This is a measurement, okay? We measure it as a scale, and this measurement is nominal, okay? It's a type that we define in a statistical program. I turn to my SPSS here. Yes, in the variable view, I define this nominal. Okay, why this is nominal? Because the order is not important. Let me write in this word here. Also not. Okay, so here, if I grouped variables, okay, I can define it in two ways, ordinal or nominal. I can either define it as ordinal or nominal. I define them ordinal when the order is important. It's easier with the word ordinal, okay, when the order is important. For example, which information I can define as ordinal? Education level. I write here education level. This is ordinal, okay? This information here is ordinal. Because there's a difference. The level is important. A student, a person should go first of all to primary school. Then he can go to secondary school. Then he can go to high school, okay? And after finishing high school, they can go to master. They can go to have master. So this order that I am writing, this should be 1, this should be 2, this should be 3. The order is important here. Okay, the order is important. I cannot say here the other. Okay, you can say it's the other group. I cannot say here, for example, I cannot give 5 to primary school. I cannot say, okay, first is, this is correct, okay? Primary, secondary, high, master of science, normally, in the normal case. But I cannot say this is 4, this is 1, this is 2, this is wrong, okay? It's not possible in the reality. A person cannot go to secondary school than high school. This is not true. So, what is true? The order is important here. First primary school, then secondary school, then high school, then Master of Science, and then graduate. So, this is ordinal. Especially with health issues, let us give another example with health issues, grouping variables. This is ordinal here. Okay, so let us say cancer issues or disease, a disease, let us say. Level 1, okay, level 1. So, level 1, of course, should be first. Level 2, okay, level 3, level 4. Generally, most cancer cases, level 5 is maybe some of them have the last stage. So here, these levels, we cannot say that grouping this is 2, okay, and this is 1, this level 2 is 1, okay. It's not true. So, what we should say, this should be 1, 2, this should go in order. So the order is important, okay. The order is important here. Or maybe we may have age groups, okay, age groups. So age groups can be like, for example, 14 and 19, okay? The second important thing that we don't have crashing values. For example, I cannot start from 19. This is wrong when defining variables. I should start from 20. This would be 25. And this would be 26 and 31, okay? So watch here. It ends at 19, it starts at 20. It ends at 25, starts at 26. This is another rule of defining variable groups. there must be no crashes. Okay, so this is true, but by the way, I cannot define it like that. This is wrong. Which group I should put the patient who is at 19 years old? 19 here or here. So there shouldn't be crashes. And the intervals are important. I have 5 here in the middle, 5 and 5. Okay. Anyway, now let us say I have a variable name. Okay, variable name. I have age. I have variable name age. Okay, I can give it an age. I can give it name age, or I can write age of patient. As I say, it is up to me, or a. But generally, I give a variable name that I can remember later what I'm doing. So simple, not many words. Okay. So age, I write. So if I define it, this is group 2, this is group 3, and this is let us 1, and this is group this is not true. Okay, this is in the wrong order. A person is at these ages first of all, and then as time goes becomes 20 years age, and then as time goes becomes 26 age. So the order is important here. So this should be group 1, this should be group 2, and this should be group 3. And this kind of variables are defined as ordinal variables. Ordinal variables are the variables where the order is important. Okay, in this variable, the order is important. Let us say we are talking about countries. We had it before here. Countries. Now there's no order in the countries. I can write group 1 to England. Let me write it like that. Country, Turkey, Egypt, other. Okay, so I can have my group England as 1, this as 2, okay, or this as 3, and I can give this group number 4. That's okay. But I can have these numbers. I can give this England 3, Turkey 1, and Egypt 2, other 4. Everything is possible and all of them are okay. There is no order among countries, okay? You can write which one you want. It doesn't have importance statistically which country to write first, okay? So therefore, since the order doesn't matter and we group it, when we group something, we can have two things. Either it is ordinal or it is nominal. When the order matters, okay, here order is important, and here the order is not important. Order is not important. Okay. So I come here again. The order is not important. Therefore, this is nominal. Nominal.